Hey everyone, welcome back. We're back again at Pack Medical Group by InnovaCare, and our series on how to age well. And we talk today. I want to talk about the art of letting go, which is a really important part that I learned from my patients on how they age well. And the people who just hold on to old grudges, it just seems like it just ages them much faster. It's almost like a pressure, almost like a weight on their shoulders, almost on their soul, and it just bogs them down. And I have a really interesting story regarding that lesson that I learned. So a patient of mine, he was in the military, and he passed away, and he was very close to his wife and his two daughters. And two daughters, of course, when somebody passes away, it's extremely sensitive time anyway regarding emotions. And two daughters got into a really big argument about that they thought they were their dad's favorite, and their dad told them, like, when he passes, that what he wants to wear in the casket. And one daughter said, he was so proud of being in the Navy that he wanted to be buried in his Navy uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And the other daughter said, absolutely not. He kept his suit that he married his wife, their mom.
Mm-hmm.
It was a gray suit that he got married in, and he kept it in the closet and always kept it safe. He says, I know for a fact my dad wanted that suit to be buried. And so they actually got into an extremely heated argument, and it never really resolved. And so the mom told me that argument, and during that sensitive time, her two daughters were extremely close. Ever since then, it took them 20 years, and they didn't speak to each other. 20 years.
That usually happens when a loved one passes away. That's when all those emotions and everything come out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's so many other things
Yep.
underneath, probably, but I think that and we talked about that, and I said, so how did that make you feel in the fact that your two daughters who were really close, that loved your husband so much in the most vulnerable time, it
Mm-hmm.
just exploded to the point that they don't even speak to each other. And and she was crying, of course. She was saying, it hurts me dearly, that they both have children.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, it's not only them, but their children are missing their aunts,
Yes.
during that time.
Cousins,
Yeah, and
aunts.
20 years is a long time. But I'm sure you can probably relate to that. It can be something as very small, or it can be
Mm-hmm.
big. But one of the things that she taught me was that the weight of that is it just wears on you,
Mm-hmm.
And so art of letting go is, there's three reasons why typically people don't close those gaps. And number one is fear, because fear of being rejected, right? And said, okay, we got in this argument, whether it's his fault, her fault, or whatever. But if I'm the first one to reach out and say, you know what, it doesn't matter whose fault it is, but I really miss you and I want you back in my life. So you're really vulnerable at that point,
Mm-hmm. And
right?
if the other person
And the
rejects
person
them,
rejects you, I mean, that wound is so deep already,
right.
and now it's a bigger cut. But the most interesting thing that happened was that the reason why I say that is that one daughter actually did that,
Mm-hmm.
went to the other daughter, and it's always about timing issues. And the other daughter wasn't ready. She still was extremely bitter about it,
Mm-hmm.
and so she was rejected. So the daughter who reached out, it was really hurtful. So at the moment when that happened, I mean, it was very, very difficult for her.
Mm-hmm.
But years down the road, when the wife was talking to me, she said the daughter who actually reached out
Mm-hmm.
and extended the hand, um, she did much better. And I asked her, said, I thought that was interesting, right? And I said, why do you think that
Yeah.
is? Because the biggest fear that happened where
Mm-hmm.
she missed her sister of this event, and reached out,
But
you
she
know,
did all she could.
yeah,
So all of that weight.
yeah,
Yeah, I could see
exact.
that.
And it's very interesting, right? You think, and so the moral of the stories I learned from that experience is it's okay to take that chance, and it's okay if you make yourself vulnerable and the other person, rejects you,
Mm-hmm.
and the reality is that weight is off. And the worst thing is going, through life thinking, okay, what if if I did that, or regret that you didn't extend the hand. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
worse. And so part of that I learned is the art of letting go, even though it's an extremely scary time,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody likes to be rejected.
Mm-mm.
especially by somebody that you're super close to
Mm-hmm.
and that you want that connection that you miss so desperately. But the actual act of doing that, even though the worst possible thing happened where her sister rejected her,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting that she, like what you said, that weight was
Yep.
lifted, even though she was really hurt at that
Mm-hmm.
moment. But but she
But
know.
she knows in her heart that she did what she could to
Hmm.
be able to reach out,
Hmm.
make those mend those bonds, and do everything she could. But it's on the other sister,
Exactly. So
to that. I mean, that's sad on her and bad on her that she couldn't accept that. So she has to carry that guilt now,
yeah,
but
so
she doesn't.
it was interesting because the mom is almost like the peacemaker, right? So
Yeah,
the two daughters wouldn't talk to each other to save their life after
yeah.
that, but they would obviously they would talk to their mom, and that's how she knew that the daughter who actually did the extension and made herself vulnerable,
Felt
that
better.
she felt so much better,
Hmm.
and her life in that way is she can move on,
Hmm.
she can move forward.
Hmm.
The daughter who didn't at that point for whatever reason, pride or whatever it was, that she didn't accept the hand that was
Do you
there.
think that kind of goes along the line of forgive and forget?
Oh yeah.
I mean, but it is, it's hard to forgive, but you can forgive. But forgetting how, like, sometimes you're like, that's so hard just to forget what had happened.
Yeah.
But if you're like you said, if you're holding on to that memory,
Yeah.
it's gonna eat you alive. It's gonna, bear the burden of your shoulders. So I guess, I mean, I'm probably the worst. I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably the worst one at this subject because I can hold a grudge
Yeah.
like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I have been in some instances where somebody's done me wrong,
Mhm.
and I it was years, but I had to come at peace with myself to forgive. um it was hard to forget about what they did, so when I'd see them again, it's just kind of like stirs up those. so i
Emotions.
guess
Yeah.
so I guess that I didn't fully forgive.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a half forgive, and but you've got to truly and honestly fully forgive somebody,
Yeah.
and just go, you know what, if I ever see them, if I ever talk to them, anything like that, it's going to be okay. And that's when I guess you find peace, because it, I hope that makes sense. Like, it was hard for me to still see them. I forgave, but I feel like I forgave for myself and not for
It
them.
is for you. And the prime example was the interesting thing is, in the patient is the wife. It's funny. The daughter who rejected the hand,
Hmm.
the olive branch. Every time she talks to her mom, always asks about the other daughter. How is she doing? Da 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 da. And
Yeah.
always about. And the daughter who actually extended the olive branch and got rejected and everything, she says she's moved on to her life. She's doing all this stuff. She almost never asked about the other daughter, which is
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
So that tells you from the mindset, I mean, it's almost like a clearing. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
very cathartic to do that. You
Hmm.
have this weight, emotional burden, of like, and you keep thinking about it. And obviously, the closer you are, the deeper the wound, right? And so it takes courage. It
Yep.
does.
Oh,
It
for
takes
sure.
courage to do what she did. But I will tell you, from my experience, from my patients, that courage is extremely well rewarded. Majority of the time, they will, the other side is feeling the same way you did, and they're so relieved that you're the first one that reached out. But in like the instance I gave you, even if they rejected you, at the end of the day,
That's
you
on
are the
them.
one that's got all that weight lifted off of you versus the other sister. So the rule of thumb is, art of letting go is absolutely true. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you have anything that's eating away at you and you're thinking about it, a relationship, a sibling, a dear friend that went south for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. And the other part is true. Even if the other person was at fault and you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm never, I know someday that person's going to come and realize what they did was wrong, and they're going to come and beg for my forgiveness and apologize. That's another thing too. If you're sitting there waiting, that's not good either.
Don't wait.
Yeah, don't wait. It does. At the end of the day, life's too short. It doesn't matter whose fault it is, and it doesn't matter who is wrong. If you're thinking about it, it's in the back of your mind. That means it's weighing on you like a heavy rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's sitting on your shoulder and it's sitting on your soul. So it's worth it for you health wise to just get rid of it. And the best way to do that is it takes courage. Reach out, and if they don't accept your olive branch, it's on them. It's not on you.
Mm-hmm.
So my suggestion is whatever that's weighing on you, get rid of it.
Absolutely. I wonder too, um, with social media nowadays. I mean, I kind of feel like that's huge too because people offend each other over social media
Mm-hmm.
versus, in person, they're more apt to do that. I have found um, earlier in my life, I would speak out and I would, vent back and say, even if it's, you know, it, religion or politics or, my beliefs and your beliefs and all that, I'd always, kind of jump in there and say something. But I have found now in my at my age,
Wisdom, your
yeah,
wisdom.
thank you for putting that lightly. So now I find that the easiest thing for me, because it would eat me up,
Yeah,
like it would literally, I would stew and fester and hold that grudge
yeah.
and everything for so long, and it was even family members that
Mm,
I would have that with. And now, I would just delete it. Like, you know what? Now I just kind of look at it and say, it's okay for you to have your belief, and it's okay for me to have my belief. But
yeah,
why do we have to argue about it? And I let it go.
yeah,
If I don't like it, if it's very offensive, then I block them.
yeah.
It's as easy as that. But that's social media today. Like,
Hmm.
that's the world that we live in right now.
Yeah.
But so even at social media, you can do it. You can let it go. The art of letting go. Just block it and take that negativity out of your life
Yeah, that's a really
to make
important
yourself
point,
feel better.
what you made. And it's about like, it's also about empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
right? If someone posts something or whatever and they can manipulate your emotion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Then
trying to
you,
get a
yeah,
rise out of you.
exactly. Then you're giving that emotional control to that other person,
Yep.
right? And so it's all about empowerment. So you can't control what people say or do or what they write,
Mm-mm.
but you can have total control of how you react to it. And that's
Correct.
exactly what you're doing is correct, which is that's empowerment. Say, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? It isn't worth my time to
Mm-hmm.
respond or whatever, and that's the correct way.
My daughter's learning that kind of the hard way right now.
Yeah,
I love her, and
it's a
but I tell her, I say, you know what? The most powerful thing that you can do is silence.
yep, it is.
Just silence. Do not respond. Especially don't respond right away.
Hmm.
Sleep on it
Yeah,
overnight. And if you feel the same way the next day, at least your words will be a little bit more effective.
yeah,
But I tell her, silence is golden. If you don't react to their text, or you don't react to their TikTok or their everything that these kids have
hmm,
nowadays, then what they can't come back at you because they didn't get a rise out
exactly.
of you. So that's my art of letting go, is I just don't react very as quickly anymore as I used to do. I stop and I think about it and I'm like, okay. But whereas before I would have jumped on that
Yep,
and been like, oh. But she's learning that now. She'll read me something and I'll say, silence, don't respond.
yep,
And she's learning it kind of like I said, the hard way.
yep.
She'll respond, but then she doesn't get the response back that she wants. And I'm like, see, that you just led right into that.
Right,
So you
exactly,
didn't let it go. But
exactly.
yeah, it's healthier for yourself.
It is. It's all about self empowerment. So, for all those of you out there, the lesson today that I learned from my patient is how important it is the art of letting go. Thank you
Absolutely.
for being with us.
Yes. Have a
See you
great
next
day.
time.